suddenly like our manager and Krias like wrote to me that we're gonna have like Twist and Pleasant coming in. So it was really unexpected. My philosophy right now is like to help more with nades, like to have more flashes and smokes instead of just buying like open small armor. And for me, it's like impossible to keep your mental like normal. It's really rough like this.
Yo, welcome back, everybody. In with another interview for today. Got Anarkez on the show. A little bit of a reschedule there, Chief, but you know we're all good. We got there in the end.
Hello.
Yeah, I appreciate you coming on because, you know, I think you're a very interesting case to kind of talk to with where your team's been at and whatnot. So I think that, and now is a really good time, right? Because you're not super far down this new roster, but still have a handful of games to maybe know how things are panning out and whatnot. So yeah, I think we'll start there. We'll maybe move back a little bit further and talk about like the old roster and what happened there. But we'll start with how things are going at the minute. Yeah, ultimately just, you know, basic feelings. Are you liking the new additions? I think that looking really good in my opinion so far. So yeah, what are your feelings on the new look finest?
First of all, thank you for having me, of course. It's a really good time being here. About the new additions, I think it was a little bit unexpected because we were searching for players, like and we were testing a lot of players, as everyone know, and like suddenly like our manager and Krias like wrote to me that we're gonna have like Twist and Pleasant coming in. So it was really unexpected, but I mean I feel like right now we have the real mentality that we needed to have all the time. Like we feel like a family together, and it's something different that it was a really long time ago. Like this, I felt it.
Yeah, I think that's fair, right? Some of my early thoughts were definitely that, you know, you guys have hit the ground running, you know, and looking relatively good in some of the more weird tournaments, you know, with the schedule, I think, as well, right? You guys were immediately jumping into games and whatnot, so I don't know what the practice cycle looked like before the newer editions, but, you know, it was pretty quick, I think it's safe to say,
It is, yeah.
to get them going. So, and that's just sort of the way it is. But like I said, to rotate back a little bit, obviously things go a bit awry with the previous iteration, which was also looking pretty good, right? You guys had, it would have been the final season of Premier, I think, had a pretty good group stage there and everything that started to turn a few heads. Because it was full of teams that had maybe made bits of the major like Entropic and Copenhagen Flames,
Yeah.
and you guys were coming away as a bit of a favourite there. But when, you know, and I guess this is not just exclusive to a team like Finest, it's more a broad pro career kind of question. How do you keep consistent when, you know, there's instability in the team, when maybe there's a couple players that you know are on the way out? And obviously a lot of people on this team, and I would imagine on previous teams, look towards yourself to be someone to deliver. Very important role, and obviously statistically you kind of answer to that. So how do you stay consistent when things are maybe a bit awry within the team?
Look, it was really, really rough to be honest. It's really rough to explain it even like in words. Like people are going like one guy is like have problem in real life, one guy have problem with contract, one guy is this, and it was really rough to keep like everything together, you know. But I think like luckily we had like our psychologist, which has helped us a lot in my opinion. In this situation, like me, Shocks at Chris try to be like really positive, like above everything, man. Like whatever happened, like with Robin and Mar, it was really rough. Like keeping together, like as three people and like with both of them. So I don't know. Like I think the psychologist part kind of saved us, like at least three of us. So I can say it like this.
Okay, yeah, that's fair. That's fair. I think it's certainly one of the harder things as well, right? Because you see a lot of teams in the tier 2 that are, I guess, more a mix of nationalities and things like that, where you maybe haven't played through your national tournaments together and had the ups and downs and that kind of thing. So when it goes a bit south, and when you do have some players like leaving and you maybe don't want them to, or they leave in a difficult fashion, you see a lot of teams like your own sort of struggle to return to form, I think, right? And
It is, yeah.
you know, it's safe to say a little bit. I don't think it's too controversial when you're trialing people out, right? You're going to have some difficulties there, obviously, but you know, a quick addition, whether it is a bit of a surprise to you or whatever, looking pretty good in my opinion, right? And a great example over the past couple of weeks is you played Sinners a couple of times. They've been a team in the past that, you know, have proven difficult for you, and you're able to get a good couple of clean victories over them. So things like that, I think, are pretty solid, right? So yeah, go ahead.
I just want to say, like, against Sinners every time, and I couldn't win them, like, no matter with which team, like, I couldn't win them, and then suddenly, like, we won them, like, 1 or 2 times, I don't remember already, but, like, it's, like, breaking the curse or something like this, so I was really happy, to be honest.
Yeah, it's good stuff. It's good stuff for sure. And, I mean, the way that the Challenger League is set out now, right, it's pretty savage format, so it's quite nice, I would imagine. Yeah. But yeah, I don't know. I wanted to approach you a little bit more broadly about the AWP as a weapon, right? And where you kind of feel that is at. There's a little bit of a conversation around it maybe being too strong. Does it need changes again? So many of the top players and highest statistical players on teams are AWPers. You'll probably have a little bit of a bias. You know, it would be nice to keep it as it is, or at the very least not make it any worse. But yeah, what are your kind of opinions on the impact? Because I think it's certainly something that, like I mentioned, a lot of people on Finest throughout the number of different iterations that we've had over the past few months certainly look to yourself within that role, and then also just in terms of putting up the kills. Yeah, what are your opinions on where it's at and how it works for you?
As you said, I'm a bit biased on it, so I mean, look, the op, like one op, even if you like, for example, one guy has 6K and you drop it for me, for example, like I can win the round by myself, so it's pretty overpowered. Let's be honest. So I do think it needs like changes, but like, you know, it's like sniper in real life or something like this. Like I can't explain it. Like it's kind of like one sniper can control everyone, you know, in real life. So it's I don't know how to explain it, but it's like really like maybe it needs changes, but you know, not much. I don't know. Maybe I don't know. Maybe bullets or something. Like it's not. It's really rough to nerf. I think the op right now.
Yeah, it is. I don't know, and I guess the thing is as well. The big thing is like the trade off of, you know, your kill bonus is not really there, so you never really earn the money back for the weapon, and then obviously the fact that it costs so much, so it can be difficult to get it consistently, and certainly on the CT side, you know, there's a lot of struggles there. Something that I think that's specific and more interesting to yourself though, is the idea that, you know, you move towards that AWP as much as you possibly can. Right, you go for a fair few glass cannon plays, a fair few lack of utility, that kind of thing. That, you know, on a broadcast will kind of be like, okay, this is expected, but it might affect them. It certainly changes, you know, what they are going to attempt to go for here. Less structured, you know, not going to have everyone throwing smokes and flashes over. What is kind of your philosophy on that? Is it a case of like, you know, you feel that you can only really perform with the AWP? Is it that your performance is so much better? Is it that you are better than the players on the server most of the time, so you can have that higher impact that the AWP is able to bring? You know, what's kind of the reasoning, and why do you do it so much?
I think, like, first of all, like usually I like as you said, like I'm doing a lot of less cannon and stuff, but like lately I started to think about it, and it's like I started to make my own philosophy, like to help more to the team with nades, and I started to buy like maybe less like on eco rounds. I maybe start buying only P250 and not like Deagle and small armor, for example, and like to save for like 2 flashes and smoke, for example, and to have like op and like nades. So I felt like it's kind of helping the team that okay, I'm getting kills, but it's not like consistent a little bit, you know. If I'm helping with nades, like if someone is stuck and I can flash for someone in one situation, so like this is more consistent, like for the future. And I felt like uh, my philosophy right now is like to help more with nades, like to have more flashes and smokes instead of just buying like open small armor and just to, you know, like pray for Santa Claus, let's say it like this, and kill like five or four or five people. So this is kind of my opinion right now on this thing.
Okay, and do you think that's sort of like a natural progression, right? When you're on the come up and learning the game at a super high level, right? And you feel that okay, you got to get the mechanics down pat and then move into, you know, the game craft, as it were, rather than just relying purely on mechanics. Is that
I learned it with time. I think one thing that Golden helped me a little bit is like to think more about like nades and like to help the team some, like not only with the like killing. It's like more like with nades and like something that is more consistent instead of like only just shoot and kill. You know. So I think Golden helped me like really good on this part.
okay? Fair. No, I think that's fair, right? And it's nice to hear kind of maturing, you know, and changing in a sense, because it's and obviously it's not unique to yourself, right? There's a lot of AWPers again on the come up that are pretty much just tied into the AWP, right?
Yeah.
And I think that sometimes it can feel like maybe you are finding an opening pick or whatever, but it's difficult maybe for the rest of the team to work with that. And also, you know, it's a lot of pressure and the support system has to be there, and I suppose you need to be open to that kind of idea as well, if that makes sense, rather than putting like all the weight on one player's back kind of thing, because it's only going to get you so far, I suppose. So, yeah, no, it's cool though. It's cool though. It's nice to hear, because I think it is something that we have said on broadcast before, where it's like, okay, if the economy's not rolling, if it's not looking good for Finest here, then Anarkez, who they expect to have all this impact, might struggle because you just can't get the AWP out as often, right? So
yeah, it is true.
Yeah. So another area that I ask a fair amount of the tier 2 players that I get on, how are you dealing or feeling about, you know, how packed the schedule can be at this level? It's been the case for a number of years. You know, I had Wolfie on of Ecstatic, and he said this year we're thinking about being a bit more selective with tournaments. Other teams love to just spam the tournaments out and, you know, get their practice in that way almost. Where do you stand on it?
It's unbelievable, I must say. Like I remember one time we had like 5 tournaments in a row, and it's like, I don't know, man. Like it's like waking up at 9 a.m. playing one tournament at like 10. Then we need to, like, I don't know, sleep or something and play like in the evening or something. It's like unbelievable. Like it's, for me it's like impossible to keep your mental like normal. It's really rough like this. And I mean, 5 tournaments is really rough, but I think like maybe 2 tournaments, like we also started to kind of like not pick a lot of tournaments like lately, because it's like not normal, like it's not fun, like even to play after some time. So yeah, like I mean, as Wolfie said, I can say it's like uh, we should like select every like tournament, like in how to say it in English, I don't know, but like need to pick a good tournament and just to stick with it, and that's it.
Yeah, yeah. I think it's fair, right? And definitely what you're talking about with it almost not being fun, you can see that across so many teams where it's just like, actually, it's maybe their last game of a Swiss stage that they're like, you know, 2-2. Are they going to make it? Aren't they? And they've just played a game earlier, and all this kind of stuff, right? You've been through so much, and you know the Swiss stages in isolation for a tournament are kind of cool because it's maybe like, yeah, you get to play a wide breadth of teams, and it's a little, if you have a weaker start or whatever, then you can recover back. But in the grand scheme, if you're not like a team that's come through the regionals and this is the only tournament that you're focusing on, if you're getting invites to lots of different tournaments, it's a lot. Insane. It's a lot. It's grueling.
It's insane, really.
Yeah. So I think it's interesting. You mentioned earlier that you guys have got like a psychologist behind you. Talk to me a bit about Finest, right? Because as an organization, I don't think people have as much info on how much, you know, support you guys get, how much backing you guys are getting from them, and how helpful they can be. So tell me about it.
So basically, like me and the CEO is like really good friends. To be honest, like he support like from the start. Like he told me like build your lineup, like do whatever you want. So like he's being really supportive in my opinion. I mean, like the whole finance organization is like lately is like getting more like how to say it in English, more expansion, or how to say it, like they're
Yeah.
becoming more big. Let's say it like this.
Hmm.
And like there are more people that are working right now in finance like than before. Let's say it like this. And the fans in Israel, like there's not much I can say it like this, but the most that the fans like they're really supportive like towards the players. Even if we lose or something like this, they're not like writing some bad stuff like a lot of fans do. So I think in Israel it's like pretty like decent like about this level. But about finance, I think they're really supportive about everything I can say.
Yeah, it's cool, right? Because I think that seeing more and more of these organizations kind of get involved and um, build up as well. I think we were maybe at a period a few years ago where there were some tier 2 organizations, but they had like a cap and they were
Yeah,
just sort of happy with where they were at. Another one that kind of springs to mind that seems to be growing and getting a bit more is Eternal Fire. You know, I think
yeah,
that they've definitely come in with a fair bit of investment, but it seems to be getting and it affects the team as well, right? When it feels like you've
it
got
is. Yeah,
support and a bit of a fallback, and you know if we need to um, meet up and boot camp or whatever, that's maybe doable, etc. So yeah, it's kind of cool. It's cool to hear that
yeah,
you're
it is.
getting some good support. Another area I wanted to move on to then, I think that you have a fair bit of experience with this. Um, what are you feeling about the international lineups? Because I think that we've got way more of that now. Obviously, you know, more so European mixers, let's say, at your level. But I guess, you know, Wolfie coming in, he's a hot contender kind of thing on a team that, you know,
Yeah.
you want to compete with. So how do you feel? Is this the way that it's going? English speaking teams, I guess we could broadly like say. Is it the way that you think things are going to go? Is it a bit more conducive? Do you get loads of different ideas? You know, what are your opinions on the mixes?
I will say it's really rough I think because not every player like know like English is not nature for people, and sometimes it's really rough to talk with someone. It's like for example if I talk right now on Hebrew with Flames or Spinks for example, it would be like much easier for me like to explain what I want, if I want this flesh or whatever, like
Mm.
it's like nature. But in English it's like if you know the English good like UK people or like Americans or so it's easier for them. But if UK people talk with the people that not like nature in English, it's rough for them as well to talk with those people. So I think it's like okay to have international teams, but like as until right now, only major winners is like only teams that talk in nature language. So it's like let's wait. Maybe soon international teams will win the major. So
Yeah, well, you know, maybe people thought FaZe could, but been a bit of a wacky
yeah,
pro league, so we'll see what happens. But yeah,
yeah,
I'm sure time will come, but it's an extra layer, isn't it? An extra level of all needing to learn the same language. Doesn't necessarily have to be English. I suppose we have like a few
yeah,
Swedish speaking, but with Danish people in there or whatever.
yep.
So yeah, it's kind of fair. I guess the next area, and to sort of close us out a little bit here, how are you feeling future wise? Right, I think that this team looks pretty solid. Obviously, you know you're going to believe in where it's going, but you know what are some of the goals? ECL, right, is a pretty important one at the moment with conference and whatnot. Is that going to get more of your focus, maybe?
I really want to get to tier one, like individual, like overall. As individual, I really want to go like to tier one to compete at this level. I think I have a lot of like to work on, but like I'm definitely like I think like in the future I can be like on this level. But with our team, like we can easily like be in the tier one. If we work hard and we continue like to be humble and stuff like this. So I think like if we continue like this, ESL like challenger could be like really good success for us right now at least. But in the future, like tier one is really a good option for us.
All right, wonderful stuff. I think that's going to do it. So I'm pretty happy. Got through everything that I wanted to ask. And again, cheers for coming on. It was nice to talk to you, mate.
Thank you very much.